Hello, welcome to the review of the Hall of Fame cards. Basically, when the new year of the dragon will hit, those cards will rotate to the wild, but you will get the whole dust refund for those cards, so if you do not have them, it's a really good idea to craft them, especially in golden if you do not have even the regular copy of it. So then it's like you got this card for free, and before the rotation will happen, you can still test out those decks and have a little bit of fun. And right now we've got Baku and Jen Grayman. Those two cards were a little bit annoying, and the simple reason why is that basically you've got like the whole collection, let's say 100 cards, and then you cut this in half and then you've got only 50 cards to work with. And when there is the new expansion, you do not really change the whole archetype or the whole theme. You still use the same stuff, just slightly improved with a few new cards, and it's a little bit boring. And also there is no variety in the hero powers. Basically you've got the same stuff all the time, and when you will also see the tier lists, you will see that those kind of things just like completely take control over the tier 1 and tier 2. So once again, it's a smaller variety, and I'm really happy that they decided to just change this. And okay, there might be people that will say, no, that was a bad change, I still want to play with this kind of stuff. Okay, first of all, you can play this in wild. The second thing is that even if you crafted this kind of deck or this legendary, you do not have to be upset. Just like I said, you will get the dust refund, so basically it's fine. And they decided also to Hall of Fame other cards related to this. I think the reason for it was to just like, stop any kind of riot, or do not upset people that they have those kind of cards. They decided maybe to craft the hunter with the gloom stack. I know that this is not a good thing, or it's not even super powerful, whatever. It just makes sense to also give a refund for those cards, so then at least people won't be super upset. And also we've got few cards from the standard, from the classic packs, that will be also Hall of Fame. Also, I can say that usually when they take care of some cards, for example they do the balance changes or also Hall of Fame, it's really related to the new expansion. So this might mean that, for example, if there will be a really powerful card moved to the Hall of Fame or just nerfed, this means that this kind of class will get more support, or they want to just make it weaker at this point, for example in terms of removal or card draw or anything else, because they want to give them something else. Like for example, they want to change the direction of the specific archetype or class, and then it actually makes sense. And there are a little bit of clues included in those kind of changes, so basically we can speculate what kind of cards and things we will see in the next expansion. I also want to mention 4 cards that are related to the odd and even mechanic, but I don't really think those are the main factors why they are Hall of Famed, because they are not super problematic. Usually when you will see them, those are fair cards. You just need some sort of restriction and then you get the reward. So yeah, those are just fair cards, but the problem is that people otherwise would probably riot and they would be really upset because yeah, okay, they nerfed Baku and Jen, and why would I right now play even an odd cards or like deck, whatever, when I get some sort of benefit, but it's like so small, so tiny, that it doesn't really make sense to just even try to build this kind of deck unless there would be some sort of support for this kind of mechanic and stuff from the new expansion. But I think they decided to like throw up on this kind of stuff and yeah, just leave it alone. Like, okay, we messed up a little bit, it's boring. Right now we just take this whole package of cards and rotate this out to the Hall of Fame. People are happy because they get their dust, and yeah, basically that's it. Really good solution, that's perfect and really fine. And yeah, Gloomstag, okay, because I forget about this one. So this is our first card, and here like this card is great. But the problem is that this kind of archetype, it's just like so trashy and so weak that it really doesn't make sense to even include this card, because when this kind of archetype, it's not supported, it's weak. The same thing applies to card. Like on its own, yeah, it's great, like 5 mana, 4/8, sick. But the whole archetype is trash. So basically like this card also sucks. And then we've got the Black Card, actually a really powerful card, a 3-mana 3/3, so it's already decent enough, but then you also got the spell damage and the card, which is like the most important thing ever. Beast tag is not really important. I managed to build this kind of odd mage with beasts, but people laughed at me, and the like that was the first half, and the second half they just said, oh congrats, that was actually a really good idea. And in my opinion it actually performed pretty well. Whatever, this is just like the side note. So basically Black Card, great card, but once again the problem is that without any kind of support, it's just like, yeah, move on, let's just get rid of it, see you the Black Card, you served me well. So it was automatically included in any kind of other mage because it was so powerful in aggressive version, in the control version. And yeah, like at some point I agree in terms of the level power of this deck, but the whole odd mage wasn't really as that powerful. Yeah, okay, it was something like the bottom of tier 1 or the top of tier 2, but still like, yeah, okay, it's like, that was fine. It was really cool to play with the Black Cat for 1 year when Gen was actually a thing, and right now just like move on. Once again, this is a joke. Glittermouth, yeah, I tried to build a deck around this. Was it good? No freaking way. So we are not really going to miss this card, and actually this is a free dust. So when the Year of the Dragon will hit and you will get the dust refund, not only you can be happy that you got this card because you will get the dust back, but actually you can disenchant this. Unless you are the white player, then okay, yeah, it makes sense to keep this card. Maybe in the future this will see some sort of play and support when we'll just see more expansions, but you know, time will show. It's just a matter of time, and yeah, basically that's it, because the card on its own it's pretty okay, we just need more stuff. And right now when it moves to wild, it's like, whatever. I will get my dust back, I will disenchant this, I will be happy about the dust that I got, especially because this is an epic. So yeah, just consider this as a free dust, a really good exchange and a small present from the Blizzard for the new year to celebrate. And the Mercs perk, I really like this card, I'm not sure why, but like whole even shamey thing was pretty okay, at least in standard, because it wasn't really as that broken. It was always a decent deck, it performs pretty well, but right now it's like, we do not have Flame Totem, Mercs perk, it's like, see you later alligator, and who cares, because there is no gen, so there is no even shamey. But once again, I think it's just a really good change, and yeah, this card was really powerful, because not only you get like the one of the best stat lines ever, because this is like the vanilla good card, because it's a 2-mana 2/3 or 3/2 if you play with aggressive decks, but on top of it you also deal 2 points of damage, so you can kill other 2-drop, not like every single one, but most of them, and on top of it also get a really powerful minion. So yeah, it was really powerful, and once again, see you later alligator. And right now I think this is the most important part, those 3 classic cards, because this will give us like the biggest clue about the new expansion, and like why decided to even get rid of those cards. Yeah, okay, Blizzard always give us some sort of explanation. Oh, we do not like this card because of something. We got the inside info from the RNGs that this card is broken, or you know, like the next expansion, you know, in the next expansion it might be way too OP. So why Naturalize is a little bit problematic. It's a 1-mana removal, and usually you do not really care as that much about those 2 cards. Also, Blizzard do not really like milling cards or the milling mechanic. We know that this is pretty powerful in Wild because we've got just way more cards, but in Wild you've got like so many options to interact with milling, to interact with some sort of control and combo decks. In Standard, like all those options are usually limited. You've got like 1 or 2 cards only to counter the specific thing, like how do you counter combo decks? You use Mojo Master or Nerubian Unraveler, so then they won't be able to do their whole combo in 1 turn, or basically you delay this kind of thing. And I think that's fine, but like every single time when the new expansion hits, they introduce new tech cards, and then the whole magic happens, because when there is some sort of problem from the previous expansion, for example, like pirates are way too OP, then we'll give you go like a crawler that will eat the pirates, and like, whoa, that's just way too OP. But Naturalize, okay, this card was a little bit too cheap and too problematic, especially in some sort of, for example, Mechatune build, where you just cycle with the Gadget and Auctioneer and then you kill any kind of big threat and you're happy about it, and you stack up armor. So yeah, okay, I get it that Naturalize might be some sort of problem, but it means that from new expansion we might get some sort of support or just like new stuff for maybe some sort of slower Druid deck, because this hits hard any kind of slower Druid deck, and this means that, you know, because this card would be way too OP in this kind of new archetype, or just this new mechanic that will show you in the new expansion. We'll get rid of it, like, okay, we'll say goodbye to the Naturalize, and then we'll give you something better, or just, you know, something slightly similar but a little bit more fair. So in my opinion, they're just trying to fix the classic set, because it's like never-ending set that will be always the same, and by like slowly rotating out few cards, this will just, you know, make classic set not really as that reliable and as that powerful, impactful on the meta, and then yeah, just more new stuff. Doomguard is a really huge surprise, but at some point I get it. It's a really powerful tool, especially in the aggressive zoo builds, because this is a really good finisher. You usually run out of cards really fast, and also Blizzard said that they want to keep the class identity, and here Warlock shouldn't really have as that much burst from hand, and also when they will lose the board control, they actually have a really hard time getting back to this board control. And it actually makes sense, because they've got stuff like Flame Imp and all other cheap minions. They can really easily take control over the board during the early game, but when your opponent will fight some sort of board clear and they will wipe the whole board, it's really hard to get back. Maybe like once or twice it will be possible if you will take some sort of precautions and you will have a ton of cards in your hand to still get back on board. But actually, yeah, okay, I really agree with this kind of stuff. And Doomguard, but maybe not because of that reason, but because I saw Doomguard for a really long time. When I see a card for, I don't know, something like 2 years, 3 years in the meta, like always, I'm a little bit bored of that, and Doomguard was like one of those cards that when you will probably discard, I don't know, something like the Soulfire or other important thing, it's a little bit frustrating. So basically I'm not like the biggest fan of the Doomguard. Also Q-Block, yeah, okay, I faced a ton of them, and once again, it was good if you can be super defensive with the Void Lords, but when you can be defensive and also aggressive because of the Doomguard, you can just like, you know, charge in, go for the Carnivorous Cube and then get another copies. It's, you know, it's not really healthy when like one deck got a ton of healing from the Spellstone, Doomguard to deal even more points of damage, also Defiles, Hellfires, Void Lords. Wow, that's just a little bit way too much. So yeah, basically I think this might be a really healthy. And when you are a Zoo Warlock player, you can still play Leroy Jenkins with the Soulfire as the finishing move for 10 points of damage out from nowhere, just from your hand. So yeah, it's still pretty okay. I saw a ton of Zoo Warlock builds without the Doomguards, or like, you know, just with the one copy and also with Leroy, so it won't be such a big hit. And that was the most anticipated Hall of Fame, or just like, I don't know, some sort of nerf for this card, because I will never see this card except the situation when I will decide to move to the wild and play a few games in this kind of format, because Divine Favor was so super frustrating. Not only Paladin players applied a ton of pressure and they had a ton of really good minions during the early game. Also, on top of that, when you play with the control deck, you've got something like 7-8 cards, because you always get this some sort of card advantage when you're a control player against the aggressive deck. Then wow, it's just like mind-blowing when they you think that's, and you think that everything is over, that you already won the game, they have only one card in the hand, and wait, what? What's that? A divine favor. And they're back to the game. Not only they managed to set your health points to a really low amount, but also on top of it they just got even more steam to just kill you. Usually they will get Leroy Jenkins with some sort of buff. Okay, that's the darkest scenario and my salt, but you know that this kind of thing is actually possible, and it happens a ton of times, and this card was a little bit unfair. And also Blizzard said that they want to get rid of Divine Favor, at least in Standard, because they want to support a little bit more of the aggressive Paladin archetype. And this is also fine, because I do not really have anything against the aggressive decks. If you want those fast, easy wins, that's fine, but when you've got, when you apply a ton of pressure and then on top of it, one Divine Favor is usually enough to win you the game. It's just, it's not the best just strategy, and it's like, super frustrating. Every single time when I faced Divine Favor, it was like, yeah, so I guess I will get wrecked in about like next 2 or 3 turns. And yeah, right now this just won't happen, so basically if like out Paladin will have some sort of good start, they just won't have a really good ending. In terms of card draw. As always, thank you very much for watching. Remember to leave a like and subscribe, and if you've got any kind of suggestion or any kind of advice, whatever, thoughts, you can share them in the comments. And yeah, if you want to see something specific in the next video, just let me know, and yeah, see you.